Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Today, I has a little mystery for us. He's got a few clues and some more information. This is all like breaking information just from this morning, I guess. Less than 50,000 people at this point know that we know of have viewed the video with this information. So you're some of the first to hear about it. So what do you think? Could there have been a second shooter regarding JFK? We'll be right back with I Am for I Am right after this. Welcome back. I hope you are feeling well.
I got a cough. I
know, but you're better now.
But I'm first day back, really, to be honest with you. So feel so much better. And I was really excited, ignited when I found this information this morning. And I go, ooh, if we're gonna do a show, this is gonna be good, but I gotta do my homework.
Yeah, I guess you've been busy because you have quite a few screenshots to share with us and lots of information. This is really interesting.
So how is everybody?
I think everyone is well. I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving or time with their friends and family. I know we did. We had several iterations of Thanksgiving. I think that's kind of a normal thing nowadays with families.
It is. And yeah. Same for us. And then, of course, some people probably brought me a doozy of a cold. It turned into a fever and in a fog. I was like in a brain fog even yesterday. And I think this shocked me to my core to like, what?
You're inspired to dig.
Yeah. So, a little adrenaline rush coming because I find this stuff fascinating. Like this book here, The Final Analysis, and there's other people that I follow on the whole JFK thing. And I have to agree with Ron Paul when he said that that was probably when the coup happened. And there really hasn't been a valid president since JFK. And then sometimes I go even further back and then, but for sure JFK.
What are your thoughts about Reagan?
Wow. Now that you said it, there's some mind-altering things that probably happened with that shooter. And there's some evidence maybe that there was a second shooter in that one.
Are you serious?
From a higher vantage point. Wow. And he survived barely. I mean, it's just like Trump, like a half inch over, and it probably would have nicked an artery and he would have been dead.
Well, then when you say just like Trump, I think that was like a show for people. So
yeah,
it makes me wonder. I mean, how much of this is real and how much of this is played out for us or information presented in a certain way to make us think something. So that's where I love that you've found some more information or some information and are digging into it. And like, we're going to present it to people and then everyone should decide for themselves. I am very hardcore in the Jay Weidner camp.
Right.
I believe there was a squib or whatever they call it. I also think JFK could still be alive. But I'm a woo girl. And so
yeah,
where I am, but I'm open-minded and I would love to hear this information.
Got to keep, questioning everything.
Yes. Question everything.
That's right. So, and that's what I do too. So anyway, and who knows if this guy, and he's new on the scene. His name is extremely intelligent, and I don't know much about him. I haven't had time to dig into his background, but his name that found this information and dug it up, and it's kind of in plain sight but hidden and behind an expensive paywall. And his name, the guy who found this is Charles Bugny, and it's Bugni. And what happened was there's a guy who kind of does a lot of conspiracy things, and he does a lot of like police violence kind of video stuff, and and prison information. His name, a lot of people probably know him. He's pretty popular on YouTube and X, whatever. His name is Sean Atwood. Well,
Oh yeah.
2 days ago, he had Charles Bugney on, and Charles Bugney produced this video. It took a year of his life to find this information and put together at great expense, and nobody would listen to him or hear from him or take it. And finally, Sean Atwood said, "Sure, tell me your story." So they actually literally played his 1 hour video on the JFK shooting and his scenario and how he found the second shooter and an image of the second shooter. And I went, what?
Wow.
So
I think Sean Atwood is the guy who I first saw Michael Yon on, the Darien Gap guy. And Sean Atwood does a lot of stuff with alternative or it shouldn't be alternative, but nutrition.
yeah,
And,
I think
yeah, all
right.
that kind of stuff. So yeah, he's got an interesting channel for sure.
Yeah, and he's got an interesting story too. I think wasn't he the one too that was dealing drugs in Arizona, went to prison and straightened his life up, and I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so it's and became kind of a kingpin in Phoenix, Arizona.
Story of redemption there. That's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, we ready to find out?
I'm ready.
Image of a second shooter.
What in the world? Tell us about all your thoughts.
Zoom in just a little bit because we're going to go over some photos and diagrams. So again, this guy Charles Bugney, and he only has 1,000. He only had like 300 and something subscribers this morning and 1,420 views on his channel, and his information is phenomenal. And what he did was, remember I told you he spent a lot of time and expense. He found under Getty Images this extremely high quality detailed image of the assassination of JFK, and he had to go buy them, and and that's what he did. I'm sure it cost him a lot of money to go out and buy these things and have the physical copy in front of him in high resolution. And so he started digging through a lot of these photos that he was able to obtain and spend a year of his life just 100% dedicated, practically no sleep or eating or whatever, just into this. Even though he wasn't a JFK, conspiracy nut or anything, he just wanted to find out. And he thinks he discovered something, and I'm pretty much on board with this so far. And I think it's going to blow up. So everyone watching this is going to find out who this guy is and find out a lot of his research is very factual and very detailed. And it's going to be hard to disprove him. So here we go. If you see, hopefully you can see my mouse in the screen there. You see the red and the blue area. You'll see these little windows down here.
Yes.
This is Dealey Plaza. And the motorcycles there, this is after Kennedy has already been shot and they're rushing away. And see this big truck here. We're going to come back to that. But anyway, and all this traffic. And this is over here is Main Street. It looks more like a walk from this angle, but that's Main Street. So, and above here is a bridge that is a rail yard. Okay, there's a rail yard to the right here where the grassy knoll is.
Okay.
And it's a railroad bridge. So there's railroad tracks above it. And underneath it, there was a walkway. And those windows are open to the walkway that people could walk underneath the bridge. All right. So he gets these expensive images and he starts digging into it. Now, the official story is Lee Harvey Oswald worked on his own by himself, bought this horrible, terrible rifle called Marcano or whatever. And he was a lone gunman. And miraculously, he got 3 shots off in this poor quality, cheap rifle. And he was a lone gunman and killed Officer Tippit. And this is another one of those high quality images that he bought. And the Secret Service are in the car behind JFK.
Right.
And they're turning to their back because they heard shots from the back. And to the very back here where my mouse is that white car Notice it's got a roof on it.
Yeah.
Doors are open. Well, that was the vice president. That was Johnson's car. And
Okay.
Secret Service is piling into his car because there's shots fired. JFK is off here by himself in front. And see this hand right here? That's Jackie's hand reaching to JFK as he's reaching for his neck.
I thought she was reaching. She's reaching at his neck.
No, she's reaching and grabbed his arm. We're going to see.
She grabbed his arm. Okay.
She grabbed to his arm when he raised up. Okay. So.
I see. Yeah, where when I zoom in, I can see it better. I can see her.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Grabbing his arm.
Yeah, grabbing his arm. And you can see him. Connolly is right here, turned to the right. And anyway, so Connolly is the governor of Texas.
Or is she stopping the guy in the front seat from turning around shooting him?
No, she's actually holding his arm.
Okay.
And so now here's the deal. In the book Depository, in this gun, the angle would have been pointing way down. So your elbow is way up, right? And it's not a good shot. Plus there were trees in the way. And the better shot, and this is an FBI photo, the better shot is when the limo JFK is coming towards him before he's making that turn to go down past the grassy knoll. The rule is no more than 45-degree turn, which is just a right angle, right?
Okay.
A right angle. But the Dealey Plaza turn is more like this. So it's almost a U-turn. But the better shot would have been clear, no trees, no obstruction, coming towards him from a distance. And the angle of his gun would have been normal rather than like this. You follow?
So could he have missed those first? Or were there no other shots? People would have heard
shots. No other shots were heard, captured on a mic by the police or reported. So I've always asked, why didn't he take that shot? Unless he got cold feet, but then he got warm feet. So we go back to this high definition photo. And this is 20, 30 seconds after the fatal shot, because there were two shots that hit him. And the end of the motorcade, people are rushing off. This truck has now come through the tunnel, or I should say underneath the bridge.
Okay, I see.
Here we're looking at this sign up here. It says Hertz. That's the school book depository. Oswald was supposedly on the 6th floor. See these trees and the sign, and there's actually also a light, a street light there.
Okay.
So the Kennedy's motorcade had to come like this, and rather than a 45-degree turn, they had to make a really almost a U-turn.
Right.
And the limo is so long, it almost hit this curb when it was making the turn, and which made it even really slow. But the shots didn't happen till way down here. This white
yes,
pavilion,
that's what I've always seen.
That's the grassy knoll. This is the grassy knoll that we see. And so in here is the kill shot. The crossfire, if it was from the grassy knoll, would have been coming this way, right? At the motorcade, like from these trees towards the
side of the car. Yeah.
The side of the car, which would have exposed Jackie. And Jackie was beloved by everyone, regardless of politics. They loved Jackie. So why put her in the line of fire? So I've always thought that it wasn't Oswald. It was a poor shot. He should have taken it when he was over here. If he didn't and got cold feet, and then he got brave and took it. It was just a bad rifle. It was to get those 3 shots off is ridiculous. Who's to say there weren't a sniper in one of these windows in this building over here, or on this roof, or even up on the book depository roof? Who's to say?
Or even up on the rail yard.
Yeah. Even up here, right?
I wonder if there were. Do they have they have shots of that? There were no cars or anything.
They have shots. There were no rail cars. As a matter of fact, one of the officers lied and said that he was waiting for the train to pass, so he didn't hear anything. But there was no train. Fascinating. So that's the kill zone in this red area. Okay. And there were diversion tactics that were used, typical in assassination or whatever. Look over here so you don't look what's going on this side. Oh wow, look at that. So there was an ambulance that was called on the route of the car. Here's the school depository. This ambulance was called to stop here and pick up somebody who was having an epileptic shock. Okay. Now, ambulance drivers in Dallas had reported prior to this there were other phone calls for this, and those other ambulance company kept coming to answer these calls. And it was kind of strange because there weren't that many, things that would happen like this. So ambulances diverts everyone's attention from Dealey Plaza. Everyone's looking at this ambulance that's over here before the motorcade arrives. This is where maybe spotters can get set. The shooter, which would have been down here in the bottom left corner, okay, right here, is where the shooter would be, or the second shooter. So everyone's diverted on this ambulance before the motorcade comes, and the ambulance is there at 12:19, like
Okay. And
2 minutes before the motorcade.
JFK got shot at 1:29 or something, right?
Like that. Right.
Yeah.
So there was a diversion that had happened, or he was pronounced dead at 1:20. So here's looking at it from a different angle, and I'm going to explain this X in just a second. So here's the white like pavilion part. Here's the grassy knoll, right? You see it here?
Yeah.
And the book depository would be up over here where the JFK is.
Okay.
And the motorcade would have came down this route, and it did. It came down this route. Now see how there are, if you're coming, see where this bus is where my cursor is? If the bus was coming and was going to go straight, it would go through this middle section of the bridge and go straight down Main Street. Or cars could, turn right and make a right here on this side. Well, what was interesting was where this X is, there was a 3-wheeled motorcycle cop that was diverting traffic so that no traffic would go down Main Street straight through here. All traffic coming off of the freeway and through this Main Street going into downtown Dallas was diverted to go to the right. Well, okay, the present motorcade's coming.
Right.
No one would think anything of it, right? And yeah, it makes perfect sense. No questions asked here until you start thinking this through. Traffic coming through here like a bus or a big truck, and if we had a shooter that was hiding under this bridge, that would obscure the view. It would obscure the shot. So we got to block that. There's part of the advanced planning. So here's a picture of this 3-wheeled motorcycle. That's what they had back in the day, with this cones diverting the traffic to not come through Main Street through this section. All right. You follow me where that's at?
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting about this cop is all the cops are identified and they've been stationed, and there's a long list of which cop would be assigned where during the motorcade. Who would be on motorcycles? Who would be at this location? Who would be in front of the Texas Depository? Who would be at the rail yard? Who would be on the bridge? All of these officers are identified and are questioned and asked, but guess who's not? This guy.
Oh,
Nobody knows who this officer is. He's not on any list.
But there's pictures of him there
with
cones out in a uniform blocking traffic.
Right.
Wow.
Never asked by anybody who this guy is. And I haven't heard of it.
That's because they know who he is.
FBI does, remember that one shot we saw and says, why didn't Oswald take this shot? Well, this was Oswald's shot through trees. This is the FBI photo that they're
you said this is a recreation or something.
A recreation by the FBI.
By the FBI of what Oswald's shot would have been.
Right.
That's kind of difficult. Yeah.
Right. And or where his first shot would have been, or second shot. If it would have been over here where my cursor's at, kind of where this red dot line is from the video, he would have been really like this.
Okay.
But the car would have been going really slow.
Yeah.
Well, the angle, it's all about the grass. It's all about the angle of the shots. That's what it's all about. And the magic bullet and all of these things, because it's all about the angle of the shot. And before the shot, you see where Kennedy's arm is. It's on the elbow of the car.
Right.
And Jackie's looking off this way. He's smiling. But we know from the autopsy photos, the tie is actually nicked. The knot of the tie is nicked, where the shot. Now, they're going to say that Oswald's shot came from the back and exited his neck and nicked the tie. And the magic bullet, it went through Conley, the governor of Texas, and went through all his skin and all these different places. But in fact, the angle doesn't match, because if Oswald's way up here, how could it come through the president's body?
It would go down into his body.
Right. And they say, well, it nicked a bone or something, and in the car, and that's how it became the magic bullet and fell through Conley and hit him in so many places. But the angles don't match for Oswald's shot here. They don't match at all. But if you take this spot in this little corner right here, the angle matches through the windshield.
Really?
Through the windshield. We're again looking from the book depository, see the signs and the trees,
right,
and this kind of thing. All right. And so it's all about the angles. Now, again, she's reaching.
Do they have that exit angle coming out his shoulder or whatever, where that one showed it like a couple?
Yeah,
we're talking about the necktie.
We're going to go through that. We're going to go through that. Great question. So anyway, they're looking backwards now because they hear a shot from they hear a shot from the book depository or for behind them, and they're trying to find out where the shot came from. This white car is the vice president's car. Notice it's got a top on it, and it's got the vice president Johnson, and the doors are open because now the Secret Service is alerted. There's shots fired, and they're trying to climb in the car to protect the vice president. But the poor JFK, his car, no cover, you can see.
And the guys are all just standing on the back of the car behind him, like they could pile on him.
Right. And there's a video of where there's a step on the other side of the president. And there's a video where a Secret Service was assigned to it, and they waved him off. And he's going like, why? Why are you waving me off? Like that. And the motorcade is leaving the airport. So it was set up without the motorcade having, or the top on the car, and no Secret Service riding on the car like they're riding on this one behind him. And the Secret Service was right there to jump into Johnson's car. Here you go. Here is the bullet that went through the windshield that gets him in the neck. The angle matches because the grassy knoll, that road, is an angle down, and if you're shooting, you're actually shooting a little bit up, but it's a straight shot, and it's only 150 180 feet away. It's not a long shot, especially by someone who is good with a rifle, with a good rifle, with a good bullet, armor piercing bullet to get through the windshield or whatever. And there is multiple testimony that this shot, this windshield, this is a picture at the Parkland Hospital where JFK was taken. This picture was taken of the windshield, and it was clearly mentioned by multiple witnesses that the shot was outside the windshield and went into the car. It wasn't from behind and blew out, and that you could put a pencil through the hole of the windshield, that it clearly went through. There was also a dent up here at the top of the windshield. Or at the top cover of the windshield. And then there's a break here, a crack or something like that. But that was from the inside of the windshield, which would have been maybe a bullet fragment or something.
Okay.
And we're going to go into that here later. But this is definitely a shot from the front going into to JFK's limo. And not only did it go into JFK's limo, the angle matches. So here's more proof of the angles, the path. Here's the front of the car, the bullet path for the initial shot to the neck. He goes up like this, and the path of the bullet goes out this way. The driver would have been here, Secret Service driver. Here's Connolly's seat, and his wife Jackie would have been here, and JFK right here. And
The
these
Texas
jump,
governor, you said, or
yes,
something?
Connolly was the Texas governor, and these jump seats would fold down, and they were actually lower. So he's sitting lower, and Kennedy's higher, and it was just
Okay.
naturally made. It was built that way. So here's our gentleman who discovered this and bought these expensive images from the Getty Foundation or image, and he's pointing where the bullet came and nicked the tie, and enters the tie and making a small nick on the left side of the tie. Well, if it's on the left side of the tie, it didn't come from the grassy knoll.
That's true, because it would have been. How did it get across the tie without damaging the tie?
Right. So we're going to come back to that here real quick. So here he is. He's reaching for his neck at the first shot that hits him, and here again is evidence that the shot would have been a poor shot for Oswald. And if Oswald took a shot, or someone else took a shot and hit one of the tree branches, then the bullet would have been tumbling, and right. And that's where there were some marks and hits on JFK, but this is how the bullet tumbled through Connolly. You follow? The only problem with this image is that Connolly is shorter, smaller stature than JFK because the seat's a little bit lower, but it shows the trajectory of the tumbling bullet, possibly. Does that make sense?
They shot Connolly, but someone else shot JFK.
Yeah, but it didn't. JFK's already hit in the neck right here.
Yeah,
and
then there's a second shot.
Right, almost simultaneously. Okay. So one is coming from behind JFK and one is coming from in front of JFK. So this one tumbling this way hit a tree branch probably and tumbled into Connolly. Now, Umbrella Man. What's umbrellas? We got to talk about that someday. So Umbrella Man is standing there, and remember we talked about multiple diversions, signaling, and the ambulance, and to get other people ready. So if the first shot, if this guy sees, he knows a shot's going to happen. He knows where it's going to happen. He's got a signal. A second shot needs to be done, so it's a kill shot. Okay. Now again, look at the to the left here. It's not in this picture, but to the left here are trees and the fence goes to the train yard, the stockyard. And if someone was shooting this way and missed JFK, they would have hit Jackie. And the nation would have gone really crazy as well. Okay. Imagine if Jackie was killed and JFK survived.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But this Umbrella Man, summer day, or not even summer day, it's November. It's a sunny day. It's no rain. It's not hot. Why has he got an umbrella? Signaling something.
That makes no sense. Yeah, in Dallas.
Yeah.
In November.
So there is a bullet that misses from up high and nicks the curb and down here. And the FBI actually cut out that curb and took it with them. But that curb was nicked by a bullet and gouged. And part of the fragments of the bullet and part of the concrete nicked and hurt, injured two people that were close to the bridge. And this is where it nicked the bridge. But the final shot, or the kill shot, is interesting because again, it's all about the angles. Kennedy's head, when he reaches and he's like this, he's actually at a 26-degree angle. Okay.
In the car.
In the car. He's not directly facing the
straight
car.
Ahead. Okay.
So we see the shot to the temple and his head basically exploding, unfortunately. And when you see that and people say, well, that shows that it was from the back and that it's exploding this way. but it's not. It's actually the fragments are going
No, it fell off because she went off the
back.
back of the car to pick up whatever that was.
Bingo. That's right. And some say, oh, well, it was inside. It was a shooter from inside the car, but the angles don't match again.
Okay.
And the Zapruder film was altered and edited, and it was a shooter from inside the car, but it doesn't match up either.
Mm-hmm.
So JFK's head is slightly turned. He's not looking towards the grassy knoll. All right, he's been hit in the neck, but he's not looking towards the grassy knoll. He's looking more this way, and the bullet comes in this way to the temple, the second shot. So here's the path of the fatal shot coming from, again, that same spot under the bridge. And wait till you see these images. It's going to blow your mind. And that's why it matches JFK in the angle. So doctors from Parkland doctors, multiple witnesses, all said that he was shot in the temple. And this was immediately at the Parkland Hospital, one of the doctors pointing to his head, who he was in the ER treating JFK when they brought him in. And he's pointing to where he's looking at one of the shot. The other shot is to the neck, and the other shot is to the temple. So he later changes his story, obviously, or are forced to. But the first press conference and multiple witnesses state that he was shot in the temple, not shot from behind.
Okay.
So the grassy knoll myth just doesn't work out because the firing position and where JFK's head was and the hit to the temple. He was not turned to the right and looking at the grassy knoll, gripping his neck. Remember that image? Jackie's hand is right here. Her hand's not up here, right? It's actually supporting his arm. Like this. He wouldn't like this. She was like this. She wasn't reaching way over.
Yeah.
He was right there. And the last thing they want is for her to be taken out, to be honest with you. I just can't imagine it. She wasn't the target.
Oh, okay. You froze up. Okay, go ahead.
So again, the shot, if the fatal shot, and see she's reaching to his shoulder, right? And I want to mention something here real quick. When our reflexes, when we're punched in the stomach, we go over. We go, right?
Yeah.
And if someone pokes you in the neck, your reflexes are to pull your arms up, right? It's just a natural reflex.
Right.
If someone pokes you in the back or puts ice down your shirt or something like that, your hands go
back
up
this way. Yeah.
Like, ooh, that's cold. Ooh, that's cold, Well, when the autopsy was done and they were talking about how, that shoulder blade bone, clavicle? I can't remember now the name of it, drawing blank. Anyway, when he's laying on the table, his arms aren't up. And so the bone is in a different position, shall we say.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they could, and remember, it's a fact that to try to explain the magic bullet, President Ford admitted to moving on the autopsy the drawing of the shot in the back and moved it up, saying that it was too low, and he moved it up to explain the magic bullet. The magic bullet.
So if his arms were up like this, you're saying that's what would cause that, and him turning and hunching over.
Yes.
His body being a different angle.
It's all about the angles.
Yeah.
So you can see this angle right here and assimilation of the car, and it's not much of a shot. It's pretty close. It's a straight shot. Here would have been the grassy knoll shot, but there's a diversion for that. That's a nice close shot, but it's an angle, and there are also trees coming in. So
where's the three-wheeler cop? He's not blocking Commerce Street, though, right?
Yeah, he's blocking, he's diverting traffic to Commerce Street so they
But
don't
he's
go
on the
down
other
Main
side
Street.
of the bridge.
Yeah. They don't want any cars on Main Street.
Hmm.
They'll allow them on Commerce Street. But so over here where the clock is,
Yeah.
it's somewhere over here is where the three-wheeled motorcycle.
Okay.
So what is in this little hallway or alcove? I don't know, what do you call it?
Alcove.
Arcade or whatever, that
Oh.
allows people to walk through there. Well, first we got to figure out this diversion tactic. The diversion tactic is common. There's this smoke that happens on the grassy knoll, and everyone turns to the grassy knoll and they rush to the grassy knoll. The shooter's up there, because I hear something, right?
Hmm.
Well, this guy's presenting the idea that this image of this smoke is not by gunfire. Modern weapons don't present that much
Right.
smoke. They just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Firecrackers do, or small firecrackers. And a lot of men, women smoked back then. So everyone had a lighter or a match.
Okay.
And firecrackers were everywhere. There wasn't like the restrictions that we have today. So he's submitting that the umbrella man is saying, okay, do the diversion so people look this way
Hmm.
and not look over here. And the sound of a gun from underneath the bridge would have been hidden. Yes, 6 shots. I agree.
But that makes sense why people think there's 6 shots, but there may have only been 3, I guess.
Right. Don't look here. Look over here. Grassy
Yeah.
knoll. Interesting.
Very
Interesting observation. So
that also, not to get off topic here, but I watched a video where there were people at is it Alan Jackson, where the Vegas shooting was? And they show like these people that are all in a group, and then all of a sudden, like a signal goes off where the guy singing says something and a noise goes off, and then all these people rush. And then when the shooting is happening, these guys who are like former military or hunters or whatever, they're like, that is not a gun. That's not what a gun sounds like. And they're like, it's coming out of the sound system. And so I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was very interesting. I did post that in the Telegram group for everybody.
There is
as well.
so much in that
Distraction,
Typical. It's common, and it's a CIA thing. Mobsters use distraction. Everyone uses distraction. Politicians use it distraction, not necessarily in a violent.
Mothers use it as well. I will.
Yes. And grandparents.
Yes, whatever it takes sometimes.
So here we go. Now we're inside that little arcade, and we're looking towards the book depository and the grassy knolls to the left there. And what do you know? That's an easy shot to make, right? Especially by someone who's well trained.
Mm-hmm.
But
and look at that closet.
Exactly. This closet is a metal door for an access panel. It's got, like electrical equipment in there, probably for the lights or what have you. And it's just sitting there. And it's got steel doors, and it opens, and it's easy place to hide a rifle before the shot, easy place to hide the rifle after the shot and come back and get it later.
Right. Or a whole person.
But you don't even need to hide a person in there. Excuse me. So, but look at this shot from Elm Street from that spot.
Yeah.
Now look at this. Imagine this. Imagine a person using the doors of the thing to hide from, and at the last second brings the gun up to point at the motorcade, and a small step ladder, easy to come in, and then this exit, you can just walk right out the back. You tuck your gun away, you lock the cabinet back up, and you walk away, and you look like a technician because you're dressed like a technician.
Wow.
And the angles match. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
It gets better. So if our second assassin had a stepladder and was hidden back here, what's his route of escape? And The umbrella man tells him to make sure you take the second shot. First shot may not have taken him out.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it wasn't Oswald, it was someone else from a rooftop or a different window who also missed, or
Right.
something like that. And so look at this. You can't really see it yet. Remember, we talked about this guy bought this high quality image.
Okay.
All right. And I don't know what you can see here. I want to show the audience this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And looking in here, if you see anything through this window, can you make out anything there? Like maybe an arm and a shoulder?
Yeah, it could be. I mean,
Could
it's
be.
hard to say, but
Kind of hard to say, right?
yeah.
That's one way of looking at it. Now we're going to zoom in a little bit better. It's a little bit harder, but now let's take a look. Here's some hair, face, an armpit, elbow. A little still harder to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give it a little bit of help.
Oh, wow.
So this high image shows this guy is carrying a ladder, and it matches when you start pulling out the grains and looking at it.
You can even see the numbers on the ladder.
Well, I think this guy put that in there. He's saying 1, 2, and 3. 2.
Oh, he's counting for you
Yeah, he's
to show the space of the ladder. Okay.
The ladder
space
runs
of the ladder
1,
takes
2.
up.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. At least I didn't miss it. So that's kind of the idea here. So imagine he's looking back through the window. Excuse me. Excuse me. He's looking back through the window and he's carrying the ladder like that. He looks like a repairman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The motorcade's already left. And I've finished my work. I'm just going to stroll and walk away. And check this out. So remember, our motorcycle cop was over here keeping people away from Main Street, diverting them down Commerce Street. And you walk out here, you go straight into this gravel parking lot. You throw your ladder in your car, truck, and you get in your car and you just drive away.
Right onto Commerce Street.
Yep.
And then you're being diverted completely from the direction that.
Yeah, you're going the opposite.
There. Mm-hmm.
Or who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's another exit off this way. I don't know. I didn't go that far back.
Very interesting.
There you have the grassy knoll. Doesn't make sense after all. And the book depository, I don't believe Oswald. I think Oswald was a patsy. And yeah, it's strange. So there's another modern day look from that angle. Easy shot. And they're coming towards you. And one last thing here. The grassy knoll is a diversion. Here are the people that would have been scouting, like Umbrella Man and everything.
Right.
The diversion at the grassy knoll to keep everybody looking there. So
which I have heard the firework thing. Or that being possible in the smoke and all that. It's very interesting.
And there we have it. So again, giving credit where credit's due. This gentleman, Charles Bugney, paid a lot of money for these high definition photos from Getty. And you know what's going to happen. Getty's not going to have them available to even view or see anymore, probably, or purchase. And they're going to get scrubbed. So Lisa, your audience here, it's not even 50,000 people that know this information yet. This guy, Charles Bugney, put out videos, and I encourage everyone to go look at his channel, subscribe to his channel, show him some love, click on the the up buttons. And you know what? Call him out if you think it's wrong, you know? Now, I disagree with him on one point. He thinks that Lee Harvey Oswald was one of the shooters, and this was the second shooter. I disagree with him. It's not that he's 100% correct, but it's highly plausible, and he certainly makes some strong arguments.
He still only has like 333 subscribers.
It's going to blow up.
But the Sean Atwood video now has gone viral, or mini viral at least.
How many?
43,000 views streamed 2 days ago.
Okay, well, when I saw it this morning, it had 41,000 views, and that
So, yeah, so you're
was
really
11 o'clock today.
sharing this information with our people that most people haven't seen this.
Yeah. So Charles Bugney, I don't think he has it all right, but he sure has a good example of what's happening. There you go.
There's the Charles Bugney one, and he has a couple of different videos. You can look at all of those.
Yes, 8 total videos, 4 are shorts.
Okay.
Or 3 are shorts or
And
something.
his 90 seconds, which is what he pretty much shared, I guess, on the Sean Atwood, it has 574 views. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I think he's onto something here. I've been following this stuff for quite some time and digging into it. He's onto something. Very plausible. It's all about angles. It's geometry. Do the math.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, I can't wait.
I was going to go somewhere else, like Roger Ver or
well,
something.
I know. I do want to definitely. I don't know if I should play that video really quick. So Roger Ver is having a interview with Tucker Carlson, and it's going to go live tomorrow. And so if everybody, I put it on my Twitter.
I did too.
And I hope everybody watches it with an open mind. And I hope we all, why is it not showing? Oh, the guy from Florida. That's why I got on distracted. Here we go. Present, share screen. Here we go. So he's going to be on Carlson.
Yeah, to be honest, I think they're not really angry about taxes at all. I think they're just angry about my lack of kissing their ring. That's the stuff that all the U.S. propaganda wants you to believe goes on in Russia all the time, but they're doing it right there in the United States of America. This is clearly a politically motivated persecution. They're trying to shut me up.
It's like absurd on its face. Maybe it's not really about the taxes. Maybe there's something more to the story.
So I would really recommend everybody watching that. You can go to freerogernow.org and sign a petition to have Trump pardon him on day one. And there's other ways you can support what he's doing. So
get this. You know what Thursday's blockchain is about? It's about Roger's case being updated. An update on Roger's case.
Oh,
yeah, I had submitted it.
Hospital again.
I submitted it like 2 months ago as a theme, and
awesome.
it got voted in, and it's going to be this Thursday.
How perfect timing. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Perfect timing. Well, I'll be watching you guys. I'll be in the live chat if I can. We're going to be, that's a big hospital day for us, but yeah. Wow. Oh man, that'll be so interesting. If not, I'll watch it later because I'm so interested about this. Just because, I mean, like I grew up, my parents were, self-employed and always trying to just stay ahead. And it was like the minute they made any kind of money to get out of the system, oh boy, here the taxes come, especially being self-employed and all of that. And so that's where they got into precious metals and all that kind of stuff. And so I grew up with like this fear of the IRS my whole life.
Oh, yeah.
I
think it's legitimate.
I think most people do. It's the only place where, like if somebody owes me money, they don't go to jail. Even if you go through a court process, it just holds them accountable with the threat of that. But then they work something out and whatever, because they don't really want to put people in jail for owing money. We're not a debtors society, and that's why we left the crown and all this bullshit. Well, except that the crown is still coming for people. It's just called the IRS now.
Yeah.
And they're the only ones that can steal your home and lock up your family, and it's just
raid your attorney's office and get your client attorney privilege
by gunpoint.
Stolen. Yeah, horrible.
Violate your civil rights. Yeah.
Yeah, IRS with guns. Yeah,
it's insane. It's insane. But I think we can all get educated and say something about it.
That's right. So everybody, thank you so much. I'm gonna lose my voice again. I appreciate
Oh,
you and watching.
Thanks for doing this for us. I know you haven't been feeling very well, but
Yeah.
it's exciting to hear, new points of new
Yeah.
information, new point of reference.
And this is new.
Super new.
So
Yeah,
we're
big,
ahead of the curve of everybody here on the JFK.
yes. So big shout out to Charles Bugney, and Sean Atwood for sharing it. So we'll keep sharing that information. Everyone can critically think and make decisions for yourself, but be open-minded, hold things lightly.
That's
So,
right.
all right, guys. We'll
Thanks
see
so
you
much.
next time. Bye.
See ya.